think it's going to be quite close. Oh my god.
Oh, we've got a full tuck sighting.
We have a full tuck.
Oh, that is a kill tier. I haven't even seen that.
Woo woo.
All right, everyone. It is here. It is time for the Wingspan World Cup final for 2023. Much hype indeed. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this very exciting game. We've got two very talented Wingspan players here. In this best of three matchup, we've got Davim representing Denmark, and we have got Gracklin Oatbrandt representing the USA. So very exciting. We started off with 200 players from 28 different countries all across the world at the beginning of this tournament, and we now have just two, and only one of them can be crowned the world champion. I've got a few stats to run through before we get into this game, but before I do that, I'm going to introduce my co-commentator for Game 1. I've got Alex joining me. How are you doing today, Alex?
Hello. Hello, Flan. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm very excited for this final. It's been it feels like a lifetime because the tournament was really, really long and there is only two players left. So I think it's going to be like a clash of titans here.
Absolutely. This should be a really, really good game. And backed up, as I say, I've got some stats here that we're going to run through. So Davim, of course, needs very little introduction. 3-time winner, 7-time runner-up, plenty of tournament pedigree. He's been here many times before. He'll be hoping to do it again. Gracklin Oatbrandt, on the other hand, has had experience in the finals before. Was in the final of the first ever European expansion tournament we did. So maybe they're coming full circle here as we close the chapter on the European expansion and move into the Oceania. They'll be looking to get their first win there. Both players currently ranked top 5. So, as you say, Alex, really, really talented Wingspan players here for you today in this game. Now, Davim, in his regional group, he actually came through as a wild card. So he got the tiebreaker to finish 4th in his group, just squeezed through, and then had that wild card match. So very, very nearly exiting at that initial regional phase. And yeah, he's fought his way through here to the final. So very formidable there. Gracklin Oatbrandt, on the other hand, they were in a 4-way tie between 1st and 4th in their regional group, coming from Virginia, finishing 3rd there. So obviously they both then got through into the next round, both finishing top of their group. So they showed the quality where it had to be done. Davim actually finishing top of his group ahead of Sim, who Gracklin Oatbrandt beat in the semi-final on his way here to the final of this World Cup. And yeah, as I say, Gracklin Oatbrandt topping their group to make it through here. And no losses so far in this knockout, so completely undefeated. They come here into this final, I'm sure, high on confidence and with a long, long win streak. Davim, on the other hand, a couple of losses, including one in the semi-final, a very close battle with the reigning champion, Yul the Sword. So both players have had to beat some very good players to get here. And of course, whoever is going to win this is going to have to beat another very good player here today. So I think that's enough introing. We got a lot of hype in the chat. It's excellent to see. And I think we're ready to get this one underway. So Davim has won the flip to go first in this first game. So if you could send that out, Davim, that would be great. Best of luck to both players as we get started in this World Cup final.
Good luck. Have fun.
Good luck. Have fun indeed. So this is a best of 3. Davim goes first here. What has he got in his starting hand? Okay. It's not looking terribly amazing. Maybe a slightly sarcastic 5 card keep there for him, but yeah, not the great options that you would maybe hope for at the start of this game. How would you try and negotiate this starting hand, Alex?
Yeah, so I think it's really, really hard to decide. Since we are going first, maybe we can consider Peregrine Falcon from the tray as a wetland option.
Mm-hmm.
It also works with the end of round 1. But yeah, the lack of wetland options, I think can potentially just slow down the player a little. That
Yeah.
Whistling Duck, I think, maybe it can potentially work with Stellars, but I don't think that the Vim will consider that plan.
No, I think, like you say, there is maybe a little bit of synergy there, but definitely a tricky start. You know, when you've only got one wetland bird and it is something like that Whistling Duck, it is not great. So, like you say, Peregrine Falcon is an option in the tray, but no rodent in the feeder, so you're gonna have to do maybe a bit of overpaying if you are going to be going with that. So he does at least have a seed in the feeder, so there is potentially a way here where he can, you know, pick up a seed, get the J down, maybe spend a bit of time getting food, and then of course maybe some extra seeds for that Whistling Duck, or maybe you just hope that you can reset that feeder, get that food that you're looking for if you do want to go for the Falcon. So yeah, definitely a tricky starting hand, and tricky on the bonus cards as well. I mean, would you agree with the choice there, Fishery Manager, even though you've not got anything to work towards that?
Yeah, I would agree with that, since I guess like it's better because you only have to play 2 birds instead of 5 for it to count, and the outcome is the same, so 3 points in the end game. So I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, well, he's gone for the Stellar's J, so might be Falcon is going to be the pickup here. So another slightly tricky start here for Grappling and Oatbread. They do at least have the Wetland card draw, so they have got the Shoveler, but it is a co-op power, so is there potentially some danger there if you're going to be giving cards to your opponent if they don't have a clearly good Wetland bird down at the start here?
Well, I think it's, again, like the close information there is that Grappling doesn't know that Devim doesn't have an option in the wetlands, and potentially maybe just the Peregrine Falcon pickup could spoil that information. But again, there is only one good option for wetlands for Grappling, and they gone with that.
Yeah.
So let's see how it turns out.
Let's see indeed. It seems like it might be a case of digging, grab the seed, get the Shoveler down, and see what you can find, and of course keep a little bit of extra food along the way. So, and we do have a Willet that has just popped up, so maybe that might tempt a Veem. And I wonder, yeah, this Honey Buzzard. I know you've got some opinions on this Honey Buzzard. Could be potentially one for Gracklen here, but Purple Martin reveal, yeah, that's getting snapped up. Devim is going to be very happy, I think, to see that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Honey Buzzards, it's like a love-hate bird. If it works,
Absolutely.
great. If it doesn't,
Yeah,
you cry. But most of the time, I think like the value on average is pretty great, I would say. So like it's 1 point something warm per reroll. And if it's like 3 in the early game, then you're really happy with the tempo. Otherwise, not so much. But again, with the lack of forest options, I think Honey Buzzard is a great pickup. But it seems like we have in like rule 16.
It's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep going. So
perpetual rule 16.
Yeah, absolutely. I did wonder maybe if the forest bird there would go and tempt Gracklen in that northern cardinal. So yeah, revealing Snow Bunting. Obviously not great. I mean, to be fair, they don't have any tucking birds at the moment, so you know there's maybe only limited value that Devim is going to get out of that Snow Bunting. But yeah, for sure you pick it up, you block it, and maybe hope that you can get some usage out of it later. So yeah, Devim getting the Martin down. Do you think it's just going to be a case of laying eggs, digging a little bit? Is he going to be tempted by any of these trade birds, or are we just going to top deck here?
Well, I think like the plan of digging with the Martin is okay, and I guess it's already
paying off. Already.
Sapsucker is a better option in the forest.
Absolutely, and you know he could, in theory, just force that down right away, or you know grab one of the worms that's there, already having the berries. So definitely nice.
Yeah.
He is still, you know, potentially struggling for the card access here, and I think this is where this Shoveler is going to get interesting. Once Gracklen can get that down, but I think they played this smart. You know, once they got the Cardinal, recognized, okay, I get that down and the Honey Buzzard. Maybe spend a couple of turns getting the food for the Shoveler, and of course, Honey Buzzard does hit this end of round goal, so they've got themselves some options to work with. But yeah, maybe giving out cards is not exactly what they want to be doing. But Devim, did think sapsucker going down. So, do you think they'll just get the food for the snow bunting, play that, and then have that as their wetland bird? Maybe do a bit of digging with that.
Yeah, I would like that more rather than having like falcons in there, because bunting again, I would still consider it as a mostly like a negate play, like denying the opponent since we have the Martin. But it's again like it can bring value if opponent have the Duckers themselves. So
I think it would be a wait and see. It'll be a wait and see, and I do like that Willet pickup as well. Actually, with the fishery manager, he's got only costing that 1 food. Of course, you can get a worm from the sapsucker as well. To maybe look at getting that down. So it's not a bad little option. Could be, something for Devim to work with there. And we see Grackling getting the eggs down. So they are going to win this end of round call uncontested. 4 points early on. Definitely nice. And of course they know they've got the wetland bird in hand. So I wonder if they'll take the food or if they're going to gamble on the honey buzzard, giving them some worms. It seems like they are, thinking about the safer play. You don't want to be relying on that honey buzzard hitting round 1, because I think we've all been there. We've all had times when it's disappointed us, when it's let us down. So better safe than sorry. Get yourself the worm there. And honey buzzard, here we go. Couple of worms, not too bad. I think you take that. And that could be very, very helpful going here. Into round 2, what have we got here in the tray? Okay, we've got some good options. Here's what we wanted to see in that round 1 tray. We've got card draw, we've got food access, and of course hummingbird as well for potentially a bit of cop. So I wonder here if they might be tempted into just blocking the white-throated dipper. Or
the hummingbird.
Or the hummingbird. But I don't know. I'd be looking almost at my opponent here. Seeing, they picked up that willet, clearly they need a wetland bird. They've also got the snow bunting still in hand. So, this is where a case of maybe paying attention a little bit, understanding what your opponent's been doing, recognizing that they don't have the good card draw, would definitely be a risk to leave that dipper. So I'd be very tempted to block that. I wouldn't be too worried about the hummingbird. Let them give me a bit of free food, but shoveler going down. So I think Devim would be happy with that. I think he'll be upgrading that willet into a dipper pretty quickly here.
Yes, for sure. I think like going back to the last turns of round 1, I would expect the players to play more conservatively and carefully. So like picking up food, I think it was a conservative play.
Yes.
Just in case like we lose the gamble and lose the tempo. And the shoveler play right now, I think it's also a tempo play. So we just like trying to put the birds on board and play our plan instead of the opponents like giving us resources or.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting behavior to watch. I think, especially in a final, and obviously in a final of this magnitude, you're up against a really good player, so you're going to think twice. And I wonder if sometimes this can, get into the players' heads. Maybe they overthink things. Maybe they think too much about the denial, or they think too much about leaving something. But when you're up against a good player, you do have to be careful. So Devim actually just going ahead and picking up the dipper. So that's interesting. Maybe they're thinking keep hold of the willet, because of course it does still hit their bonus card, and maybe get both of those birds down in the wetlands before they draw. But we do see there Grackling, they pick up the hummingbird and they do skip the shoveler. So interesting, definitely interesting. Now that your opponent has got something for the wetlands, maybe that is the time where you don't worry too much about giving away the cards, but they've skipped it, so we'll see. I would imagine maybe they're gonna keep digging, although maybe they're settled on this Ferruginous Hawk, so that could be the start of their grasslands. They've got lots of egg space. Maybe they could be going for the end around here.
Yeah, and also they have a lot of food to play birds. I don't mind the skip on the shoveler. I think it's also again like the conservative play.
Yeah.
I also wondered like what's your opinion on Flamingo reveal?
Oh, I mean, Flamingo is just such a difficult bird to work with, I think, especially in a 1v1. We've probably all had that good experience of it by now in those festive games. That maybe does change our opinion of it a little bit, but yeah, I think for sure probably not going to see too much benefit. Of course, I think Grackling does have bird counter, so maybe it's got a little bit going for it there, but I think it's still it's a very difficult bird to make work properly. Like I say, in a 1v1 where you're just relying on your opponents, giving you the cubes to get your tucks there. Yeah, it can be a difficult one. But it seems like, as I say, they've got the hawk, they've got the hummingbird. Maybe they're just settling. Settle for what you've got, build up a grasslands. As I say, get some eggs down, especially with this end of round. I think they can do something there with all this egg space. So it'll be interesting to see. But for sure, Davim, get this dipper down. Now they've got the fish. So yeah, it's going to be digging time, and they're going to be seeing a lot of cards here. They are going to be, hoping they can get something good to build out this grasslands.
I think, like, again, with those conservative plays, it's like you gonna have to work with the hand you was dealt. So I don't mind the Ferruginous Hawk as a bird by itself, right? So it's not optimal, but since we had the food to play it right away, and it's like 6 points, it's gonna just score points because it's on the board.
Yeah.
Same with the Hummingbird, but Hummingbird's also like 4 points for 1 food with more value. So again, extra food from grassland activation, and
absolutely. I think Ferruginous Hawk is a classic example here of something we talk about a lot, which is, you can keep digging and you can try and find the good birds, or you can play that slightly weaker bird early and get more activations out of it. So it's not a great power, but getting it down early, you give yourself a chance. Maybe get some caches, and like you say, it's already 6 points, already builds out that grasslands. And Grackler be hoping that it can do as well as that Willet, because already getting a cache there early on, very, very nice indeed. So just to remind everyone, this is a best of 3, so you're in this for the long haul. As I say, we had Davim going first in this game 1. We're going to have Grackler going first in game 2, and if it is tied after those 2 games, we'll go to a decider. So very, very exciting stuff. And now the wetlands is built up for Davim. This is where the shoveler starts to get used. So Common Swift, quite a nice pickup here, I think, with Bird Counter, and good synergy with the Honey Buzzer. So do you think we'll see that go down at some point?
Oh, I just love this European combination. I think it was my favorite one, like Buzzard and the Common Swift going into European expansion as a full noob. But I think it's just like great by itself, because there are not a lot of methods to convert food into points in vanilla game, and here with that, like with the activation after a round end, I think it's really, really nice combo. Yep. Hawk,
there we go.
Hawk as well.
Good play there, I think, with the Hummingbird. So putting Davim first, force him to take the berry. You then get to pick up the worm that you want, and you get 4 dice to work with on your Hawk. So getting a cache there, very nice. So looking positive, looking good here, I think, here for Gracklin. But of course, giving away this free food and Bold Eagle popping up. Lots of nice big point fish birds. So he's already got the Ibis. He was already looking at that Skimmer, I think. Or is it the Anhinga that he's got in his hand? And then now this Bold Eagle. So lots of big point options for Davim for this bonus card going forward. So here we go into round 3. And not an amazing trade, but maybe, given that Davim still hasn't got something going in this grasslands, do you think he might be tempted by the Baird Sparrow? Just get something going and maybe get some more eggs built out there?
I think it definitely could be an option. I wouldn't say that we are too high on like egg spots for now, and most of the birds that we want to play have either 1 or 2 egg spots, so like Bald Eagle and other hunters, Anhinga. But again, like generating value from grassland, I think it's one of the most obvious ways to score points in the end game. So, and since again, like it's a final, so you most likely consider playing conservatively and just take it and then score points in the end game.
Yeah, I think it could be something we potentially see it going down. One thing I didn't really expect was this green woodpecker, but I suppose maybe Davimi's looking at this end around thinking, get that extra forest bird. You've effectively got 3 there now for this end around, and it saves you cards you don't have to discard for food. And when you've got a tuck and draw in the grasslands, I think you do want to save cards so that you can always be tucking there and just minimize the number of times you have to go to your wetlands. So definitely not a bird I necessarily expected to go down, but I think it does make sense here. Plenty of fish in the feeder. I think he'll be looking at grabbing that. And getting the eagle down, getting the ibis down. And then, like I say, maybe just one final piece of the puzzle in this grasslands could be the way to go. So Gracklin also going for the food here. Looks like they are maybe eyeing up their own wetland predator power. So Black Skimmer with this couple of fish. Again, just get something in there and start drawing some cards, because I think the Swift could go down, but they probably need something else really to add to this to get a strong engine going forwards.
I actually think that picking up fish could be a good play even without like having Skimmer or Foster's Turn in your hand, since we saw the Bald Eagle pickup.
Yep.
And potentially considering that the value that it can bring on the boards by being just playing 9 points. Oh, sorry, the Gull's appearance here.
It has appeared, but is it still needed at this point? I'm not sure it is. I think it's too late for Franklin's Gull. I think he's got enough cards, and he's got enough birds that are big points that can hit Fishery Manager that I'm not sure you need it for that. So this could be this could be something you pick up just to stop your opponent having it. But even for them, I think it's potentially on the late side. I'm not sure Davim really needs any of those other birds. So yeah, it's popped up. We had one of the OP birds showing up in this game, but yeah, I think for me it's definitely on the late side here.
Yeah, so they picked up Titmouse, which I also considered again, putting more pressure on end of round 3, and also potentially going into end of round 4 with like X. And now I think like picking up Gal is not that great for Gracklin as well.
I'm not sure
we
about
are losing
this.
turn.
Yeah.
One turn just to picking it up. I think, well, that would be
that's
great.
Helpful. That's very helpful. If you can find another forest bird here, you could potentially do a flip on this end of round. So there we go. Maybe
there we go.
That might be something that Gracklin can look at him. But yeah, I don't know. This Gull is tricky. Well, Davim would be wishing he picked up now that he's got the red-winged blackbird, because that would have been the dream pairing. But it could still work, to be honest. Doing more tucking, he's got plenty of cards, so that might be his next grassland bird. I think he was planning on doing the sparrow, but yeah, I'd be looking at this blackbird here probably over that now. But Franklin's Gull is going down here, so yeah, this is interesting. I think it's going to be tight on time for Gracklin. I think if he's going to be getting everything down in time, if he's maybe going to look at this end of round, you're playing some low point birds there. Does he still want to get this common Swift in play as well? For obviously the bonus card and some extra tucks. Maybe he wants to pick up that red knot as well. Another nice bird. I'd certainly be looking at that as potentially an option to get down. So lots of options here. We'll see how this plays out. But Gull is down, so he is going to think about using that. And Davim going for the titmouse. I think he secured himself the end around there. And yeah, he can probably just go and pick up some food. Would you still be looking at this Bald Eagle and the Ibis and just think, okay, this is my end game. Get these big point birds down and try and max out this bonus card.
I think for sure. And also going back to Gracklin's board, I think what you mentioned is a great play. So pick up red nuts, maybe one card from the deck, play your common Swift, then potentially lay eggs again. See if you need like more cards, more options.
Yeah.
And then just score points from your grasslands, and then from conversion of grubs to points.
Yeah. And I think I was just trying to work out there, because he did skip the Gull, which is a bit strange to play it and then immediately not use it. But I think, he did discard the food there. I wonder if he's looking at doing the double play and still get the Swift down. You can double play with the berry and the seed in the forest. So save your worms for the common Swift, and then potentially in that last round, if you're going to go and take some food, get some extra worms. Of course, the honey buzzard might help out a little bit, but you're going to get an extra point from the nuthatch. So final end of round goal as well. Food and personal supply, always a bit of a difficult one to work with, so that might factor into things a little bit. But here we go, Bald Eagle. I love to see this re-roll. What's he going to get? One fish. I think you take that, to be honest. And you could go and get this Ibis down. So not too shabby. Definitely looking good for Davim in terms of the big points. But I do worry about the engine. I do worry about where his other points are going to come from in this final round. You play the Ibis for one turn. he's probably going to have to go for food and get the blackbird down, and then maybe it's a few turns laying eggs, but that is a lot of turns in your final round where you're not scoring very many points.
Yeah.
So definitely makes things tricky, but double play, yeah, definitely good for this end of round, of course, but low point birds, so we'll see how that plays out for Gracklin. Hoping for lots of worms. I think you take 2 there, and yeah, common swift. This could be the key. This could be what brings Gracklin some joy in this game, if they can get 5 more tucks on that in the final round. Could be looking very, very strong for them there. But we come here into this final round. Any of those birds tempt you? Would you be looking to use this gull, or do you think this is still going to get skipped here for Gracklin?
I think we just like play gull because since have we had the activation it yet?
I don't think it's
so.
been used. No, I don't think it's been used at all. So
yeah, I would say like maybe I would go for the different route and not play the double bird and instead activate the gull to pick up the red knots, as I mentioned before. But for now it seems like if we want to play like any of those birds without gambling, right? So like without going blind through the deck, we would have to like hit food like perfectly. For example, for golden eagle or bob white, since we don't have neither rodents nor grains. So
it's tricky.
It's not looking that.
I think it's a difficult position because if you think about it from Gracklin's perspective, they got loads of egg space. You can guarantee yourself 4 eggs a time. Maybe with this hummingbird, you can set the feeder up in a way that the Frugious Hawk's going to get a better chance of hitting. But you're getting those 4 points and hopefully some worms as well. You can turn those into points. You pick up the golden eagle. Okay, it's 8 points, but you had to spend an egg to pick it up with the gull. You then have to spend a turn gaining food, and like you say, 3 rodents. How likely you to see that on a reroll? Not very. So potentially some overpaying comes into it as well. It just becomes very expensive and maybe not a great usage of turns here in this final round. So yeah, this is crunch time. When it gets to this final round, you've got to have a plan in place for your last 5 turns, and I think this is where both players are going to try and work that out and see how they can negotiate this final round.
Yeah, I would say for Gracklin now, the option I would go for is just lay eggs without activating the gull and pick up the fish, then play skimmer and then lay eggs 3 times. Because again, if we don't want to activate hummingbird after that, then it's going to be 4 dice out of the feeder. So more hunts for hawk potentially, and score points from possibly like buzzards and cashing like grabs on the swift. And again, like for this end of round, you said that it's tricky, but with that combo like buzzard and swift, it's so easy to manage, right? So you just don't tuck like your grabs if you don't want to. So you like effectively just win like extra points from difference.
Yeah, I think it is certainly easier in this position for Gracklin. Like you say, you can kind of just wait and see. What does your buzzard get you? How much food is your opponent on? And then you can decide to tuck the right number. I think this is going to be much more difficult for Davim, who's kind of got to, balance his own needs of playing birds and scoring points through his engine versus, taking food maybe just for the sake of trying to compete for this end of round. So this is difficult, and nice play here. So this Ibis, what is this going to be? 6 points after the eggs and then 5 from the bonus. So definitely a strong play. He did give us a little sneak peek of his score. And I've got to say, it wasn't looking too healthy. So we have got a poll on the way. If you do want to vote in that as a viewer, you can do. At the moment, the majority of people are picking Gracklin Oakbrand as their player to win. So we will see how that goes for them. But a pretty productive turn there. They managed to pick up some worms from the bird feeder. So that is definitely going to help. We did see them pick up the golden eagle. So I think at this point, I'm just going to be laying eggs, certainly for these next 2 turns. I want to get the eggs down. I want to see where my opponent is at because, playing birds are nice and all, but if that costs you food, if that costs you tucks, maybe this end of round gold as well, I don't think it's worth it. I think you're better off laying eggs here, seeing what this hawk can do, especially now, you've got yourself 3 dice out the side of the feeder, so you get some chances to work with. But I think this is tricky. I don't know how Davim's going to play this. I don't know if you still want to get the blackbird down, if you just want to play the Inhinga. but he's got 4 turns, and he's got to try and score points with them. So difficult times ahead, I think, here for Davim.
Well, yeah, I think for Davim, like Blackbird doesn't seem that bad. It's even if it's only a 1-point play, then we can like convert it to a lot of value from like tuck and lay. Also for Grackling board as well, like picking up the Golden Eagle, it wasn't the plan that I was originally considering as a great one, but I think it still works since we only lost like 1 egg to pick it up, but we lost also 1 turn to gaining food, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big point play and then potentially more tax. And with that said, like again, a lot of ways to manage like our food source and like Ferruginous Hawk chance to hunt. So again, like it's maybe a mathematical question, but it all comes down to like probabilities for now. So I think like being myself and lazy to count, I would just say like let's go for skimmer and lay eggs 3 times.
Yeah, I just think the risk here is that you overpay, you cost yourself the food, and maybe you do put yourself in a difficult position for this end around. And I think it's something that Davim's got to think about as well. And I see the chat's trying to work out, is Davim, is he just going to play bird, lay eggs a few times? Do you gamble on getting another food from this hummingbird? Maybe the seeds that are there, or just something to qualify. So difficult position there. But yeah, I think for me, if I'm Grackling, if I'm completely honest, I'm just laying eggs 3 times. I'm definitely laying eggs the first 2 times. See how it goes. See what my opponent is doing. Are they picking up food? Are they looking to play birds? Are they just going to be laying eggs? What's the maximum number of food they can get on that last turn theoretically, if they did go and gain food? Because if you get a 6-point swing on that end of round, that's better for both these players than their current engine. So it might be better off just going and taking food, and they have both got caching powers in there as well to get an extra point. So, like you say, it's all mathematics, it's all probability at this point, especially when you've got these hunting powers in play. We know Davim likes a bit of counting. This is 1 turn slower normally than how he would do it. It's normally first turn around 4, but I think his first turn, as I say, getting the Ibis down, that was the only obvious thing for this round. I think everything else is a little bit less obvious, so completely understand he's maybe going to spend a bit of time just to try and think things through and work out what the best approach is.
Yeah, and also considering like the hummingbird is on board, I don't think you ever think that your opponent is going to just give you a free food at that late in the game. So again, potentially like with the finals, I would also say that the probability of it is a little lower than it's like if you just play an ELO game or in the middle of the tournament, since like the pressure is high and potentially your opponent doesn't want like to have like any chances of you accidentally winning. So
I mean, I've seen
maybe
the chat speculating a little bit about this hummingbird. You see the Swift in play. On the one hand, maybe that means hummingbird's more likely to get used because they want to get some extra worms to get the extra tucks. I think this is a case where if I'm Davim and I see what my opponent is doing here, see what Grackling's been doing, they just gained food. I think you would not be gaining food there if you were planning on using the hummingbird every time, because you could just be laying eggs, getting your food through the hummingbird instead. If I'm in Davim's position, if I'm trying to read my opponent's mind, try and work out what they're doing, I don't think I'm going to be counting on a free hummingbird food. And like you say, when it's in a final, when it's high pressure, when your opponent is maybe going to be a little bit more defensive, I don't think you want to be gambling on getting a free food here. Especially, I think if Davim, say he forces down this blackbird with 2 fish, if I'm in Grackling's position, no way am I giving him a free food and bailing him out and send around. So, this is a very interesting point in the game. Definitely a bit of cat and mouse going on between the two of them. So we'll see. Davim still thinking hard, still trying to work out. Like I say, I'm honestly not sure what the best way out here is.
For now, I would say so that's what I'm was also considering. So maybe go blackbirds in the wetlands, but it's not that great since again, like our hunters are based on dice, so
Yeah.
it's again easy to just mess with the tray,
Hmm.
from for the hummingbird. But also I was also considered like take food once for 1 point, then play the bird, maybe. But again, was not that obvious.
No, so what I'm trying to think here, I think he's going to lay eggs twice and take food, and I think the reason he's doing it this way round is because if you took food first and you throw the card, you then are missing a card at the end to tuck on this Martin. If you do your eggs first, you come to that last turn with a card and you can throw it for food. So yeah, there's definitely some pros and cons either way. You know, you cost yourself the extra food here, but you maybe get that food back by having the extra card to discard. So Grecklin here, like I say, very wisely, I think, skipping on the hummingbird. So as it looks right now, if they're just going to tuck all their worms, you know, even if they get 2 worms off this honey buzzard, all the worms get tucked. They've still got 4 food remaining to be using for this end around. And that is the most that Davim can get from his forest. So you know that your opponent can't go and take food and win the end around. And you are forcing them to have to take food just to qualify. But, oh, he's going for food. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this.
Oh, Grecklin is going for food.
Greclin's going for food. I think he wants to play this eagle. Oh.
Yikes.
Okay.
I don't think that's a good play, yeah. So again, like, we were happy enough with the food that we had, I think, because again, it's like easy to manage, even though the wimp having like the option of last turn to just go and draw like 2 or 3 food. But then we just like tack 1 less and still get this difference from end of round.
So working this out, I think there is a world in which that does make sense if you're anticipating that Davim is going to take food on that last turn. Because if Davim takes food, you know he gets 4 food, he ties you on the end of round. By taking food here, you do give yourself that extra bit of food. But he's kind of playing skimmer. Oh, I thought this was all to play the eagle. I thought that's what he was thinking, to go and play the eagle, because even, you know, eagle is 2 more food than skimmer. So worst case scenario, it costs you 2 tucks on the swift. So it's I think it's better.
Yeah.
I think it's better to play the eagle here. And even if you miss out on 2 tucks, it's net equal with the skimmer. And I think that is fine, because it was 1 cash on the nuthatch and then 7 points here for the eagle. So 8 points over 2 turn, which is the same as if they just laid eggs and the hawk missed. So, oh man, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was the right way to do it, but maybe it is gonna work out for them here. So eagle, it seems, is going down. So yeah, they will have basically as much food, I think, as they want for the send around. It would just be a case of how many swift tucks they have to skip in it, and it will always be worth skipping them here. To make sure that you win the end of round. So yeah, I think Davim, he's got to take food here, right? Or is he just gonna, because you lay eggs for 5, you take food, you get a cash and 4 end of round points, so it's the same either way. And maybe you do cost yourself or cost your opponent some tucks.
What a feeder there.
Yeah, not
3 fish, 2 rodents.
Maybe what he was looking for earlier with the bold eagle play, but yeah, 77 points. It's not a lot. It's definitely been defensive. And honey buzzard missing, that could be huge.
Ooh.
That could be huge here in this endgame. So
easy on tucks.
Yeah, count your tucks here, Grecklin. Pay attention. I think that is the right number. Get the 2 tucks there, and they do win the end of round. And we go into the scores, and I don't know. I don't know which way this is going to go. This feels very, very close. Very tense endgame for both players, so it's looking pretty close on the bonus cards as well. Davim slightly edging it. End of round goals, I think, was quite close. Yeah, Grecklin brings it back. Davim with the eggs. Who's got more tucks at the end? Oh, it's Davim by a point.
1 point game.
1 point.
Oh my god.
And I think it was the honey buzzard at the end missing that has cost him there.
Yeah.
1 honey buzzard worm wins the game there on the food tiebreaker. So what a game. Yep. What a game. Super, super close, as we thought. Very, very tight game for both players. So, I need to catch my breath a little bit there. Very, very good
For
game.
sure.
As I said, it is a best of 3. So Davim getting the win here in game 1. But it's not over. We have a game 2, and we're going to have Bracklin Brant going first in that one. So I think we're going to take a minute or 2 in between games. Do not go anywhere. We're going to be coming right back very, very soon with game 2. All right, we are back here for game 2. I've got Scared of Birds joining me on the commentary this time.
Hello.
Hello, and we've got Gracklin Oatbrand. I'm going first this time, so maybe a slightly nicer looking starting hand this time around at least. Not seen the feeder yet to see if Flicker is an option, but you always like to see Yellowhead Blackbird as an option at starting
Absolutely.
hand. Absolutely.
I mean, any wetland bird, because
Any
last
wetland
time
bird.
was so difficult, but the blackbird is really a top tier one. So.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch the bonus cards. Did you see what they were?
I did not, so I'm hoping he.
Okay.
I'm hoping he'll flick over. There we go.
Ah,
Okay, Rodentologist.
that's a
Okay.
nice one.
Take that, and he's got
We're
his
gonna go with
favorite.
our old friends. Yep.
Yeah, he's got his favorite hawk in the tray as well. So that might be something.
Wasn't the worst last game.
Absolutely not. Did do its job. Got a couple of caches and brought it very close at the very least. So yeah, as I say, it might be something he goes for. So Flicker, not an option here. That's not good looking
Flicker's
feeder.
really, but it's still highlight. Do you think there's kind of an end of round allure to it?
Oh, maybe, but I don't like that. I'm just gonna say I don't like it.
Well, right, I know. I mean, you could play it with the cherry. You could
Ooh.
toss cards once you.
And
Wow,
here we
look
go.
at that.
Dueling full tucks, anyone? And we got the snow bunting as well. So I think that feels like it'd be a nice keep. Or Davim, so definitely better starting hands here. Both players with something to get going in the wetlands, perhaps to get started, and at least a forest option here in the nuthatch as well for Davim. So do you go greedy here? Do you go for all 3 birds, or are you just going bush tit bunting?
Yeah, I was just thinking that's kind of tricky because they all just need worms and wheats, and there's no worms in the feeder. Little, even if there were, there wouldn't be later because we've got a Flicker on the other side. But
yeah.
I think I probably would go greedy, to be honest, and maybe just hold the snow bunting for later.
Yeah.
Just because having the extra food doesn't feel like a wonderful advantage to me, given the birds that we're looking at.
Yeah. It's difficult.
I don't know. Yeah, what would you do?
It's difficult. Like you say, you know, even if you go greedy, you just need the worms and the seeds. So it's not a terrible idea to have that. And you know, maybe you're sort of hoping that your opponent is going to reset this feeder for you and get some worms going. So maybe that's what Gracklin's thinking as well. Just kind of keep the flicker almost aspirationally. See if that feeder gets put in a place where it could be re-rolled. You can go and play the flicker and get yourself some worms. So end of round as well, perhaps maybe for Davim. Maybe he's thinking for the nuthatch as well, but bush tit helps there on that front. I think probably what I'd just be playing bush tit. I think play bush tit, keep the snow bunter for later, lay some eggs, do some digging. Seems like
skip the nuthatch, just like Davim did.
I think that's how I'd be doing it. Skip the nuthatch. So okay, he's having a look at this canvas back. Thoughts? Not something I've really considered, but I think you just play this blackbird and start digging really and see what you find. But
interesting.
Maybe there's an element of not wanting to leave the wetland bird just in case your opponent hasn't got something.
Right, that's true.
But of course, with this bush tip, as I say, Davim is pretty much set. So
that canvas back right out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think I mean, there is something you could do here with canvasback and blackbird. Of course, there is a seed there, so you can potentially get both those down and do your digging. Not too many egg spaces on the blackbird, which does make it a little bit more tricky, a little bit more time sensitive. But yeah, Davim is going to feel very happy now, seeing that blackbird go down, giving the bunting a little wiggle in his hand. So, as I say, that will I'm sure be going down at some point when it is convenient. But Gracklin Oatbrat just picking up the one card there, and immediately canvasback is gone. So I do think that was just a denial.
It was a deny, you're right.
Yeah, and you see your opponent's got something set up now, and you think, okay, well, I can get rid of this, and just now you've got the egg, you can discard that, start drawing more cards, and go from there. So Davim, I was thinking about that. Is he going to rush down this bunting just in the interest of getting more tucks from it, even if it's expensive and it's going to cost you all your food?
Yeah, it's a tough choice. I'm not sure I would have, honestly. I think I would be playing chicken with the bird feeder, but here I am commentating.
Yes, it's always easier.
So this is where, and this is where I learn things too. Yeah. Maybe this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see some merit in it. Of course, you play it in the wetlands, you start getting extra cards as well when you're drawing. Yeah. So there is some additional benefit. And just maybe that bit of card cycle as well to maybe find something that's going to get yourself some food. So you're looking for a hummingbird, you're looking for a crow, nice cheap forest bird, probably something like that chickadee that he did leave from the starting hand. He wouldn't mind. Right. But yeah, going for the extra food. I think he's being very deliberate here in the food he's taking. He's leaving this feeder in a horrible state. So both players sort of trying to make this as painful as they can for each other. So we had it in game one, a very defensive display. Right from the start, right all the way through, seems to be the case here as well. So forest bird comes up, but again, no worms. So do you force that sapsucker down, or are you going to keep digging and find something better?
I mean, so sapsucker, that's not as good as snow bunting. I don't know about taking 2 turns to get food for the sapsucker. I think if it were me, I'd keep digging. Or I might even consider, this is like crazy, but I might even look at, if I had better birds to play, I might even look at taking a rat and playing the hobby up into the forest, just so I could have access to that bird feeder. Yeah,
I'm wondering about that as well. And you got this flicker. I think probably that does get thrown here for the extra food, and maybe sapsucker. Maybe you get yourself some more rodents and can get that spotted owl down. So they do have rodentologists, as we said at the start. So they will be hoping, I'm sure, to get some extra points from that as they go. But yeah, I think snow bunting definitely kind of stopped them in their tracks here. They had a bit of a game plan. But surely, if you're going to draw cards again, you draw now. Because Davim's got no cards, so he can't even use the snow bunting.
Yeah,
you're going to have to draw at some point, I think. This round,
so maybe
next. So it's best to do it now.
Yeah, maybe this is Gracklin kind of. What is the situation?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think they are just
So I
assessing
completely
things,
agree,
so.
and I think we don't have to settle yet. I know you guys were talking during game one about when do you say, okay, I have mediocre birds and I can run with them, and when do you keep digging? And to me, this is the time to keep digging.
Yeah, I don't think
I mean, the
I'd
flicker was
be.
right in his hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be playing Flicker there. Not getting any worms from that. That is a tough pill to swallow. So.
Yeah, and if I'm Davim, I'm kind of happy to see that, honestly, because I'm thinking, okay, well,
Absolutely.
that's a little, that's a sign that there's a struggle happening.
Yes, that is a sign that they have not got good birds in their hands. So maybe, I don't know, it seems like they're just going for this end of round, but this is an end of round goal that Davim can so easily just win from you anyway. He draws cards here, you get 1 egg on the, oh, hello. That's going to be difficult to get down, but certainly very welcome. But yeah, he can easily get 3 eggs on the bush tier, and then even if you lay eggs on that last turn on the snow bunting, you win it by default and set yourself in a really strong position for round 2 as well. So, I think, like you say, maybe that's just a case there of settling a little bit too early. I mean, I will say in that game 1, I did think going for that Ferruginous Hawk. I think that was even for me a little bit too early to be settling, but. This is definitely going for it, getting that flicker down, and I think I don't know. I feel like they're rattled here if I'm trying to read into their mind here, because now you draw cards, and if you were going to draw cards, as I said, you want to draw cards before they have cards to be attacking with the snow bunty. So Ferruginous Hawk getting picked up again. Yeah, well, like we said, it did do something for them in game 1, so maybe they're trying to repay the faith here. So yeah, Morning Dove gets tucked, and yeah, do you still keep digging if you're Davim, or do you settle now? I mean, it sounds weird to even say this, but do you settle for the Raven in your hand? Because it's expensive.
I mean, I think taking it is. It's totally expensive. I think taking the rat is fine. If I'm Davim, I know I get the first look at this tray. Oh,
well, here we go.
That.
Here we go. That's what you want to see. You can go either way with this now. You've got your house finch, you've got your nightingale. Heron goes immediately, no questions asked. So yeah, okay, this is interesting. I mean, Raven house finch is a very powerful combo, of course, on these base boards. So that feels like a bit of a no-brainer. But even that nightingale, would you look at using that, or do you still go defensive here and see how much your opponent is struggling for food? And try and not help them out with that anymore.
Ooh, wow.
That's going to be nice.
Nice pickup, too. Yeah, I think if I'm Davim, I'm going to get that nightingale down, just share food to help myself get this Raven. And that's it. I see the chat saying, I see Mother Love saying never give food, so I get that.
Yeah, it's difficult because now you have to tuck. Yeah, now you have to bunting tuck, so... Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with Mother Love here. I think it's you got to go defensive. You see your opponent struggling. I mean, they did now just pick up Black-Headed Gold, but did that get tucked? Because I'm pretty sure I saw that and they got rid of it. So that is
they tucked it. Yeah, and I think the snow bunting tuck convinced me. So that crow actually could be even more helpful.
Yeah. Just play crow and keep digging and get the food for the Raven while you're doing it.
I think that
seems sort of appealing.
Lucky.
Yeah,
pretty lucky pickup.
It could be an option.
I mean, it feels like anything's better than going up and getting food, just one food at a time. So I think the question for me would be, if I'm playing the crow in the wetland, am I going to put the house finch in the wetland and just keep rolling with my tuck engine?
Yeah, it's interesting because that could be an option. I mean, you still need some more eggs, I think. Bush tit on its own is not enough to sustain a crow and trying to play extra birds. So, if you find another tuck and lay whilst you're doing your digging, then all the better. But yeah, this could go either way. This could definitely go either way. I'm definitely liking the idea of playing wetland crow and keeping on digging, because you grab 2 food, you play the Raven, you lay eggs, you get your house finch down. That's a long time it takes to do that, and you're not going to have many cards, so you are going to have to keep digging. at some point. So he's definitely thinking carefully about
Yeah.
this. But yeah, I don't know. That I'm definitely surprised that Gracklin was so quick to get rid of the black-headed gull. I saw that come up and I thought, oh, hello. You know, here's your route back into
Oh,
this
yeah.
game. You get that down in the
Exactly.
wetlands. You're getting food. You're getting cards. You're getting eggs. He was very, very quick to get rid of that. And I think, you know, given some of these other options, he's still holding on to this forest bird, even though there's none of that food in the feeder for it. So, very difficult one to get down. So, I don't know.
I see Motherlove now has twice brought up a forest crow to kind of
Mm.
accelerate the food access to get the raven down. What do you think about that?
I think it could work. I think if you do that, you have to draw at least once more, though, because, you know, potentially if you have Forest Crow, you can take food once, you discard a card, and then, of course, discard an egg, and you get your Raven food. You don't want to be discarding this House Finch. So I think you draw again here, regardless. You know, if you want to be going that before you play it, but if you're gonna draw now, you're committing to it, and you know, you'd rather have the crow in the wetlands first before you're drawing, if that is your plan.
Yeah,
So,
no, I hear you, Motherlove. Not to get the raven down, but to kind of air sando it. So forest crow, and then the finch goes in the wetlands, and you know, we've got a sando.
I like that less. I think you either commit to the wetlands, you go, right, I'm getting crow, I'm getting house finch down, I'm getting my points here, I'm doing my digging, you know, I'm looking for that blackbird, you know, I'm looking for a mockingbird maybe, I'm running with that. Or you say, okay, I've got raven house finch, which is one of the strongest grassland pairings in the game.
Yeah.
And looking maybe at these end of round goals where I want to, you know, have birds in the grasses eventually, I want to have some eggs down in my wetlands. And sort of looking at targeting those as well. So there's options.
I think I agree
There's
with you, Flan.
options.
I think I would like to play it into the wetlands and then draw 3 times to get cards and raven food, and then make my pivot, and I'd have hopefully, you know, nice good cards in my hand.
Exactly. I think you want to wait and see. I think in a position like this, and I think this applies all across Wingspan, anytime you've got a decision to be made, you want to give yourself as much information as you can. And sometimes that is going to come through drawing cards and seeing. So I would be playing the crow, I'd be drawing, seeing what I can find, and then that gives me the information to inform my decision of, do I stick with this wetlands or do I move to the grass? And so he's committed here. He's taken the food. So I think, yeah, he's going to go raven. And I think this does work as well, because, you know, you play your raven, you lay eggs, you get your food for the house finch. You've got your crow that you'll happily tuck with the house finch power as well. So that is definitely going to help out here. But Gracklin also going for food. So what do you make of this? They went for food. They took a worm, but they didn't discard any of these cards. So are they going to be playing this hobby? I'd have been looking at grabbing grabbing the berry, and you know, you get yourself your food for this sapsucker, I think it is, in their hand, but. They're committed on playing these what in no power birds up in the forest, so that seems to be the approach they're going for, which I'm not too sure about.
I think sapsucker seemed like the obvious one to me, especially with the common swift in hand, but also just because, you know, you hate to, even though it's nice to get 2 food now, you hate to do it for no points.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see what the plan is here, because now he's looking at the sapsucker and you think, okay, you know, you really that dead set on keeping all of these cards in your hand? You know, they're okay. I think certainly the spotted owl I want to keep. Maybe the swift is handy now you've got the sapsucker power, but again, it's one of those, like, do you settle, or in the interest of tempo, do you throw cards that you're maybe less keen on going with, and try and build something out there? Because I'm honestly not sure where they go from here. Is it just take food and play the swift? You know, there's still no second wetland bird. That has kind of been the problem. So we'll see what the approach is going to be there. But for Davim, a lot more straightforward, kind of as we expected here. Raven House Finch, definitely strong.
And I see chat kind of upset about Davim's card draw because of the bush tit. So I'm wondering about that shoveler and
I
the
think
tray now
shoveler.
that
I think shoveler's the way.
yeah,
I might just draw cards here, to be honest. Pick up the
yeah,
shoveler,
I would too.
and he is going for it. Now would have been a
Well,
nice
okay.
one, but yeah, I think you
Too
draw
obvious.
here. Yeah, you draw here. You keep the extra card. If you're snow bunting, get some tucks, all the better. But you've at least still got something extra to cycle with. So yeah, I think I'm not worried about card draw here. I think once the shoveler goes down, Davim's going to find himself in a strong position, and yeah, I'm happy to throw out cards when I've got Ravenhouse Finch. You know, have all the cards you want. They're going to be more valuable to me than they are to you. So Common Swift did go down there, so got one tuck, which is definitely something to build off. And yeah, it does seem like maybe are we going to see the Hawk, Frugia's Hawk, Common Swift? It's all feeling very, very familiar. So a bit of deja vu, perhaps, for Grackle and Oatbrand in this position.
I know you were saying in your stream the other day that playing with, going back to European expansion without Oceania is like a warm blanket, like a familiar one, and so maybe that's the game that Gracklin's going for.
Absolutely.
Like,
well, I
my
mean,
old card.
Yeah, I'd understand it a little bit more if he had won that game one, because you want to go back to the cards that served you well. I mean, maybe if Honey Buzzer comes up, we won't see him play that, given how it did. Given how it did potentially cost him late in the game there. But yeah, I think he's definitely switched up his approaches. So maybe there's a case of moving away from the Blackbird, because when you've got a Snow Bunting on the other side, you don't really want to be giving away the cards like that. So I can definitely see a case for it, but it's just so tricky. I think it has sort of put him almost between a rock and a hard place, because that was your point scoring early on, that was your resource generation early on. Digging through the deck and scoring points at the same time. Whereas now it's definitely a little bit harder. So, and we did see the Goose come up there, Canada Goose. So he got rid of that very, very quickly. Do you think that is something he could have considered going for in this Grasslands, or do you think he was right to get rid of that and focus on the shoveler?
I think he was right to get rid of that. I mean, I don't know about you. I've been fooled many times by, my Raven Canada Goose game, and to me, it's not worth it. It's too hard. If, I'd rather, if I'm Davim, look at like that Ibis and the Red-Eyed Vireo, because I have viticulturalist, and the Goose needs wheats to go. I mean, if there's a Towie around, maybe.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But also, yeah, exactly. And especially if keeping the Goose means skipping a tuck. I think the same as, with that Nightingale. Like, it's like, okay, well, the tuck makes it really not worth it. What do you think?
I'm with you. I wouldn't be playing Goose here. I think it's so close to the end of the game where you kind of think, okay, what's my plan here? Okay, you could play Goose, you'd be laying eggs. It's not a great point scoring engine. It's only 5 points a turn with that engine. And like you say, big point birds are out there. I mean, even that shoveler, that's a big point play in its own right. And I think with this end of round goal as well, he clearly wants to be drawing cards, which this is going to help as well. So yeah, like you say, sometimes if you have a bit of extra food, you can definitely benefit from the Goose. But I think here, his best bet is going to be going and playing big point birds, and Red-Eyed Vireo into Bell's Vireo, double Vireo in the forest. Looks quite appealing here, I think.
Yeah, I think he's considering all these cherry birds.
Lots of cherry birds, lots of options. He's looking at the viticulturalist, and it is one that you can max out quite easily, I think, for those 7 points. So obviously he maxed out Fishery Manager in the last game. So yeah, he skipped the shoveler, but then went back to use it because I think he does want to try and keep hold of as many of these as possible. So I definitely don't hate that, even if you are giving away another bird to your opponent. So yeah, I think for sure he'll be looking at getting, as I say, the double Vireo in the forest, but he could maybe play the Phoebe and the Chef Chaff as well, just for again a bit more egg space. But the viticulturalist, that's going to be very, very nice.
If I'm Davim, I might even draw again, because I'm not sure I really want to tuck any of
I'm drawing again. Yeah. I think you draw again because you think about, okay, you're still getting a point, you're putting yourself in a strong position on the end of round, and like you say, as soon as you lay eggs, you've got to tuck something here And if you want to keep your options open, which I think he did, just given the fact he used the shoveler, I think you do want to, keep those cards in hand, give yourself those options going into the final round, because you never know. Playing that Chiff Chaff last round could be, what would it be, like a 5 or 6 point play, which could be better than laying eggs. So it's always worth keeping hold of those where you can. So
Right.
I think, I think I'm drawing it.
Yeah, I think I am too, and I think I'm ditching an egg because I'm thinking I have this house finch, excuse me, and so if something comes up in the tray that I like, I can take it, and I don't want to keep going down to the wetlands to draw cards.
Yeah, and he is now skipping the shoveler, so he was feeling nice once. Not feeling nice
No
the
more.
second time, no more. So he did pick up a Roadrunner, which I don't hate that. I think that could be an option here. But then again, you've got to commit and you've got to get rid of one of your lovely looking berry-eating birds. But good pick up on the bonus card there for Grackle and Oatbran. Everyone knows Rhintologist and Falconer is a good combo, so they've already got 2 Falconer birds down. So they'll be happy with that. That's probably one of the better bonus cards they could have found given the board setup at the moment. But man, this is a tricky position for them here. Yeah, they are getting at least some Swift Tuck, so they have got 5 worms. I think that's going to be their strength. That's really where they're going to be trying to score points. And this can be a bit of a blessing, can be a bit of a curse, where you have full control over the bird feeder. So, of course, Davine with the Raven, once you've got the food for that, very easy to just run the grasslands. And get your food from there. So it does mean that whenever there's worms in the feeder, Grackling can easily go and grab those, and I think that it has been what he's been doing. But it also means that if you re-roll that bird feeder and it gets stuck somewhere really, really awful, you're going to have a real hard time trying to reset that and get yourself some worms. So, as I say,
it's true.
go both
although
ways.
Grackling was playing so much into the forest early that now being able to take 3 foods, you kind of have a little more flexibility with the bird feeder, at least.
Yeah, exactly. So he can have that option, maybe of being able to get a reroll a little bit more easily. So Davim's thinking hard here. Thinking very hard. I'm definitely trying to work out what his approach has been with the cards, because he's been generous sometimes with the shoveler, and then he's not been generous, and then he's sort of. I think he keeps finding himself in this position where he doesn't want to tuck anything, because, like I say, I think the Roadrunner could be a good play here. I don't think you necessarily want to get rid of that immediately, especially last end of round goal. Birds in the grasslands, that could easily get you a few extra points off that. So I think he keeps
play
not
the Phoebe right into the grasslands.
Exactly.
I know it feels dangerous to give your opponent worms, but you've been giving your opponent things the whole game, and it's obvious that their board is a little bit,
lackluster.
It's kind of it's different. It's unconventional.
Good word.
Right, and I mean, Gracklin's rocking these bonus cards, and the Swift usage with the sapsucker is great. But if I'm Davim, I'm like, what's a worm or 2 to give them?
Yeah.
If it helps me get down this Roadrunner, the Vireo, the Bell's Vireo.
I think that's the thing. Like you say, worms are going to help pretty much everything here. So it could definitely be an option. I almost think he's maybe getting too hung up on this Viticulturist bonus card. So I think at this point, the decision for me was made on that last turn. So I don't think he discarded an egg, and I don't think he used the shoveler. So both of those are options where he could have got an extra card, which then allows him to lay eggs easily here and have something to tuck. I think he's now finding himself a bit stuck, not necessarily knowing what he wants to get rid of, because these are potentially all good options. So I don't know. I just think like Phoebe and Chiff Chaff, they're nice. If you get those extra 4 points for Viticulturist, all the better. But individually, they're only 3 points each. So, if you're giving those Viticulturist points to those birds, it's like you're playing 2 5-point birds. And I think he can do better. I think certainly the Roadrunner and this double play in the forest are better. So I'd be tucking I'd be tucking the Chiff Chaff here. Get rid of that. Move on.
I would too. I mean, I'd be looking to play the Phoebe and the Roadrunner in the grass, and then the two Virios upstairs.
Yeah, definitely an option to go with, and definitely one he's trying to work out. Maybe thinking a little bit about the centre round. I did see him sort of like, he played the Virio, almost sort of like tempting he was going to get that down, but I don't think that would be the one to go with. So you want to use that for the double play. So I think he is safe. Birds in hand. I think he is safe on this end of round, no matter what he does. Yeah, he did his calculations late last game. He's doing them maybe a little bit early here this game.
Yeah, right.
Bleeding into round 3. But Roadrunner goes, and he gets bailed out with the Wild Turkey. So I don't agree with that decision. I think that was a bad decision, but he's definitely been bailed out there. Wild Turkey popping up. Even better viticulturist bird than some of those other options he had. So very, very nice. You like to see that.
That's much better than the Chiff Chaff.
Absolutely. And yeah, that can go in the grasslands as well here. Get yourself maybe some more egg space if you need it, and of course helpful that end around. And yeah, maybe now you just do Turkey, you do your double play, and then still you have got that Phoebe as an option, but maybe he'll find another nice viticulturist bird as well to go with. So
like an Oriole.
An Oriole would be nice. I think, did we? I'm trying to work out if we saw the Oriole earlier.
Or
if that
maybe
was
like a blue throat.
Yeah.
So you could play that into the grasslands.
Absolutely. I mean, just another double bird, to be honest. Another forest double bird.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you'd hate that.
Or one of those forest bonus birds.
Yeah.
He'd probably be happy to see that.
Plenty of good
options. He's giving us lots of time to speculate.
He's giving us more than enough time to speculate. Man takes 5 minutes to decide what to tuck, and then another 5 minutes deciding what food he wants to gain. So
the turkey's a game changer.
Yes.
You make a decision and it completely derails everything.
It seems like it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he maybe spent 5 minutes making a decision, and then that decision was changed because he did find the turkey. But he has gone and picked up some turkey food at least. Gracklin finally gets to do their 5 tucks. They've been waiting very patiently for that.
I was gonna say I would be really considering timer bugs if I
I did see him. I did see him pause the game and just check. We did tell the players at the start if there are any bugs or if we notice anything, we'll let you know. So nice. Right. The Gracklin does at least trust us that we are people of our word. But I'm gonna get Poll up. We're gonna see who you guys watching think is gonna win this game. I think I know who's gonna win this game. But Scared, do you know who is gonna win this game?
I mean, it's easy to go with a conventional board. I'd love to see Gracklin win so we get a game 3.
Absolutely.
And because I love to see these like big brain boards prevail in the end.
Yeah, who wants to see Raven winning? Come on.
I know, exactly.
It's so boring.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think like you say, like we always put our biases to one side. We come into this as neutrals watching along, but we always want to see the game 3 because we want to get more Wingspan, especially in a final of this nature. But yeah, it is definitely looking good for Davim. I think maybe it comes down to what he draws on the Virio bonus card. But I think even if he draws a dud there, he's got some strong plays. He's going to score well off his existing bonus card. He's got a very clear end game, I think at least. I mean, he might disagree. We'll see depending on how many minutes he takes for this turn of the game. But yeah, he's got some very good options. And I kind of look at Gracklin's situation and I think you have definitely less options. Whether it is just take food and then lay eggs, try and get that feeder in a situation where you have some dice to work with on that hawk. Maybe you'll get some success from it, but yeah, I think it's going to be gambling on that feeder reroll. Hope you see 3 worms and then get a 4th with the Sapsucker power, and then just roll with that. So Phoebe is coming down.
Okay.
You, I'm sure, are going to be very happy about that because that is what you wanted to see going down.
Well, I wanted to see it with the Roadrunner, but Turkey's good.
Turkey's also good, and like you said, he needs worms. So, in the interest of some tempo, it might be helpful here. So yeah, Gracklin. I did wonder if this was going to be the option. You just got to gamble. Go for the Hail Mary. Look for your Benellis when you've got Rheumatologist and Falconer.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm doing if I'm Gracklin. But I just really hate to see those 3-point birds at the end of the game.
It's sad. It's sad, and it's also sad when you maybe are giving a point away to your opponent. Belsverio's going.
I don't know what to do. Okay, tuck the chip chaff. Right?
Got to get rid of the Chiff Chaff here, surely.
What are you gonna do with the chip chaff?
Surely there's no way he's playing Chiff Chaff. You've already got your viticulturist sorted. You've got your 2 on the board. You've got the 2 in the hand. He's so close to getting rid of that Virio. That definitely
just
caught
trying
me.
to scare us.
Yeah.
Is this a game?
Definitely surprised me a little bit. I think Chiff Chaff has got to go here, and I think you
Yeah.
lay eggs, you get your turkey down, you lay eggs again, you do your forest double play. That feels like, as I say, I don't want to use the word obvious, but that feels like the obvious play.
I know.
So we'll see. Yeah, okay, Chiff Chaff is going. He's paying attention. And there comes the honey buzzard. So it did find its way
I'm
up.
glad Gracklin didn't.
If Gracklin had drawn that on his turn, that would maybe have been a bit more of a kick in the teeth. So he's not using Phoebe, clearly very confident that he is going to have all the food to play everything. And I think he probably should do if he is going to do the turkey and then the double play. But yeah, Davim's definitely maybe trying to keep things exciting. I'm sure that's not what was in his mind. But there we go. What a reroll if you're Gracklin. That's what you want to see. I mean, I almost joked about the 3 worms, not thinking it would happen. But he got 4, which is more than what he bargained for.
It's only when the honey buzzard. Yeah,
it's only the honey buzzard.
Not around.
Yeah, maybe that's paying him back for game 1 on that reroll. So he has got his worms. But yeah, do you just lay eggs?
I guess so.
I think you do. Just hope that your hawk is going to do some work. But yeah, 3-point turns is not really what you want to see late in the game. But to be fair, Davim's last turn was only 3 points. This next turn is only going to be 4 when they're laying eggs. So their engine has not been stronger in terms of point scoring, and it's definitely a low score. I mean, 73 for what looks like a very smooth Raven Housefinch game. Obviously, with no context of the slow start, not having the food. As I say, it does look a little bit low, but maybe he'll get a nice bonus card. He's got a lot of star nests down, so he'll be looking for Enclosure Builder or something like that to get a lot of points. But I'm going.
And now with
food again.
Gracklin, taking food. Do you think the Grackle's going to go down?
I think it is. And then when you do lay eggs, is that better? You get to lay 4 eggs, then you get a tuck and an egg, but you're giving a tuck away to your opponent. So I think it's marginal whether that's better. Maybe he's gambling that Davim doesn't have something that he is willing to tuck, but on the surface, I think it's probably about the same, maybe like 1 point slightly better, because you do get the extra worm, of course, for the Common Swift, and you get the extra seed that you're going to get to throw away. So, as I say, I think that does sort of make sense as an out. Obviously, he would have been hopeful that this could have tied the end of round goal and got some extra points there. That's not going to happen. It's just going to go down as that 3rd bird. But yeah, I think Grackle and eggs is more points on the surface than just laying eggs twice. Yeah, interesting point from Motherlove. So playing the turkey first and saving the double play for the end. Always kind of a gamble when you're playing the bonus cards super late. You don't give yourself any time to react to what bonus card comes up. I'm trying to work out what bonus card he possibly could have drawn that would have meant something else in his hand. Could have been more tempting. I mean, he did have a Common Merganser, but I think even if Omnivore comes up or something like that, just hitting the Viticulturist, the turkey, is definitely going to be better. So I think he got the extra egg, having played that a turn earlier. So when he laid eggs, he got 4 as a base rather than just 3. It's going to be a gamble on this bonus card, but I think it is going to be worth it. So look at this. Look at the jokes of Davim here. Imagine thinking that you're timer bugged when you just spent 10 minutes on 2 turns and your opponent didn't even flinch. The nerve to do that.
After we were just talking about how patient Gracklin
after how patient Gracklin has been, Davim goes and pulls that. So How very dare he? But Grackle is going down, so as we sort of expected, Grackle and then laying eggs seems to be
and then
the approach here.
We'll see what we're gonna get here with this bonus card.
Absolutely. So this could go either way. I mean, he's got a decent number of birds down. I think he'll have 9 birds down from memory. He's not showing his board, but I think he'll have 9 down, which is definitely below average. I think normally you're looking at sort of 10 or 11 at least in a normal game, and that gives you a good chance of getting a good bonus card. But like I said, he's got 4-star nest down, so any nest type bonus card is going to be good. He definitely gives himself a shot there. So we'll see. We'll see what it is going to be for Davim on the last turn. Bonus card gamble. Bird Bander for 7. There you go. That is definitely a nice pickup. I think there were a couple of 7-pointers in there he could have found, and that was one of them. So you certainly take that with 9 birds down, a 7-point bonus card. Very, very nice indeed. And Grackling Brand laying eggs here. Perugia's Hawk gets a cash. Do you know what? That makes me feel good inside, seeing that it did.
Yeah, the Hawk's looking out
pay him
for
back.
Grackling.
It's even if the rest of the deck isn't.
I know the Hawk and Grackling are a team.
At least the Hawk is. So very nice. Get yourself 5 tucks on the Swift, and clean sweep on the end of rounds for Davim. That is going to be huge, I think, as we go here into the final scores. So. It should be a bit of a lead hit on the birds. Bonus cards, it is going to be close because Grackling has some good ones as well, but that Bird Bander late pickup was great for Davim. As we said, clean sweep on the end of rounds, huge lead. Of course, plenty of eggs, and thanks to those tucking birds, he's going to have a lot of tucks as well. And it is a comfortable win for Davim in the end here, 102 to 76. And that means he is crowned our world champion for 2023. So very exciting games. Maybe not quite as close in that second game as in the first game, but very good games of Wingspan nonetheless. And of course, congratulations to Davim as our world champion.
Yeah, that's huge.
Huge indeed. So we have got the players. I'm going to see actually if Davim's feeling chatty.
If anyone wants to talk,
because he isn't always feeling chatty. But maybe when you've just been crowned as the champion. Yeah,
you relax a little.
Maybe he'll feel chatty. So I'll take them off Devon, and they can they can see if they want to talk to us. But he says okay.
All right.
That's a positive sign. So all right, I'll take you off mute, Davim. If you wanna have a little chat. I mean, first of all, congratulations. World champion for 2023. Very tight game 1. Maybe not quite such a tight game 2. But 2 very entertaining games nonetheless. So, what are your thoughts on those 2 games? If you want to say anything. If not, I'll go to Grackling. No, okay, he's not feeling chatty. Oh no, maybe he is. Here he is. You're on mute. There we go.
Oh, no.
It's on.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. And the first game was really tense.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel kind of bad for that last buzzard roll.
Yeah.
I don't know what the chances of not rolling at least one worm to win the game, but yeah.
Yeah, that was. I mean, we kind of thought it would be close. Watching along, I think the chat thought it was going to be close as well. I didn't think it was going to be 1 point in it. And watching that honey buzzard, the reroll coming through on the 0, definitely a painful one. But it was a very interesting opening. I think for you both. You both kind of struggled. I think one of you had something in the forest, one of you had something in the wetlands, but not really any sort of clear plan. So definitely some sort of cagey opening, I think, for you both. What's it like sort of trying to negotiate that, and maybe sometimes you've got these co-op powers, you don't want to give stuff to your opponent in a final. How did you both find that in game 1 in particular? Grackling, you can go first this time.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it was interesting. I think there were moments when it felt like Davim was behind on food or behind on cards, and I didn't want to share, but then later sort of had enough, so it felt sort of advantageous, very slightly advantageous to share again. Yeah, I think it was an interesting moment with that Franklin skull in the tray. I think it was too late to pick it up. I was sort of enticed, maybe I'll save one draw. I think it wasn't quite worth it in the end, even though it did extend the grasslands. But yeah, definitely, the buzzard missing is, it's an act of fate.
Yeah.
The second game felt much harder to sort of, I just couldn't compete on any of those end of round goals and did not get any good engine birds.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm curious what you thought of that goal, because I left the goal.
Yeah,
to take it, but I took the woodland bird because I thought I could do something with it for I didn't have another woodland bird to go for the third end of round, and I thought maybe I can get some extra food because I could discard cards and then the last end of round. But I also had fishery manager, so it was kind of a tough. I don't know if it was the right call.
Yeah, I mean, on commentary, definitely when we were watching that, I think we were both in agreement that it felt late, and so when I saw you drawing cards to Vim, I thought, oh, he's not going to pick it up, is he? But then you went for the forest bird, and then Grackly, you picked up, and then I think you definitely declined to use it a few times, which was definitely, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think there was a point where you had to discard food to get an extra egg so that you could get all the birds down you wanted for the end of round, get the swift down as well at one point. So, sometimes you want to use it, but you can't because of the eggs. So, definitely some difficult decisions. And yeah, it was a super close game. So, I think you'll both probably watch this back. Maybe one of you will want to watch it back more than the other. But there will definitely be some points that you'll see where you'll think, maybe I could have done this differently, or if I'd gone down this path, how things could have worked out. But like you say, game 2 definitely not quite so close. Just of course, when the Raven came up, it still wasn't obvious. We were trying to work out what the approach was for Davine.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to
had no
do,
food.
actually.
You had no food and a Raven, and it was 3 slow turns getting the food. To get that down, but you got strong grasslands from it. So
because then I talked the nightingale for a crow, and I thought maybe crow, house finch, bush tit, wetland, but then I was gonna have some issues with the eggs in wetland and around, and also the last in around birds and grassland. So it was low taking
it was
two food that led, but I think it was the right call in the end, actually.
Yeah, we did kind of wonder, you had a couple of different paths you could have gone down, stick with the wetlands, like you say, go with the crow in there, keep drawing, even the house finch could go there and you keep building something out, but Raven, house finch, definitely a strong combo, hard to turn that down, but very good games, gotta say, 2 very entertaining games to watch, so thank you both players for sharing this with us, allowing us to watch along. Congratulations again, of course, to Davim, world champion for 2023. And thank you as well, Scared, for joining me for that second game.
Yeah, thanks, and congrats to both of you. I mean, I know Davim's the winner, but Gracklin, I mean, it's our biggest tournament ever, and you've made it to the final. It's a real accomplishment.
Absolutely. No shame in finishing second out of 200.
Exactly.
Especially to a player such as Davim. So,
especially after that buzzer roll as well.
Yeah, yes.
Well done.
You can leave with your head held high, no doubt there. So, thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that as much as we did. Just a couple of things to mention before we go. We do have a new tournament that is going to open for signups tomorrow. It's our first Oceania tournament, so I'm sure you're going to want to get in on that. Do keep your eyes peeled on the server. Look out for the announcement for that. And of course, we've still got our festive raffle underway. You should take part in that, get some games in. You've got until the end of December. You can play as many games as you want, get yourself some tickets, and you can win some pretty amazing prizes. So as I say, do go and check that out for now. But yeah, that's all from me and the commentary team and the players. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will hope to see you again very soon in another tournament live stream game.